Greetings from Indian Journal of Anesthesia. I, Dr. Kiran Mahendru, will present an article published in the February issue of the IJA. It is a systematic review and meta-analysis on levobupivacaine versus ropivacaine for brachial plexus block. The role of peripheral nerve blocks in modern anesthesia is vital, ensuring that surgery can be performed safely without significant adverse effects. The brachial plexus block is advantageous and is used for elective orthopedic and reconstructive upper limb surgeries and emergency surgeries. The optimal local anesthetic to be used for brachial plexus block is yet to be decided. Traditionally, bupivacaine is preferred for brachial plexus block due to its long-lasting effect and optimal sensory to motor neural block ratio. It was used clinically and was reported that some patients experienced toxic effects on the heart and the CNS. Consequently, levobupivacaine and ropivacaine, which are the long-acting local anesthetics, were developed to provide prolonged pain relief without the side effects caused by the bupivacaine. This systematic review and meta-analysis aims to comprehensively synthesize the current evidence on comparative efficacy and safety of levobupivacaine versus ropivacaine in brachial plexus block for patients undergoing upper limb surgery. The authors explored the comparative effectiveness and safety of the two local anesthetics across the preoperative period, that is, the time to achieve the sensory and motor block, during the intraoperative period, which included the surgery duration and conversion rate to general anesthesia, and the postoperative outcomes, which included the sensory and the motor block durations. In patients undergoing upper limb surgery using a brachial plexus block by synthesizing evidence from various RCTs. The trial is registered with Prospero. It is a systematic review and meta-analysis with the database including the PubMed, Web of Science, Scopus, Central, Embase, and Google Scholar. A manual search of the included trial list of references was conducted to detect any missed eligible records. The PICO criteria included adult patients undergoing brachial plexus block regardless of the approach used, that is supraclavicular, infraclavicular, interscalene, or axillary for upper limb surgery. The intervention group used levobupivacaine as a local anesthetic, irrespective of the concentration used. The control group used ropivacaine, regardless of the concentration, and the outcomes were preoperative outcomes, that is, time to sensory and motor block, intraoperative outcomes of patients converted to GA and surgical duration, and postoperative outcomes, which were duration of sensory block, duration of motor block, the VAS pain scores at 24 hours, the need of rescue analgesics, and complications like the incidence of local and systemic adverse effects. The observational studies, conference abstracts, posters, reviews, animal studies, and in vitro studies, and RCTs that investigated other patient populations were excluded. The screening process was done using Covidence online tool, and the data which was extracted was in the form of an Excel extraction form, which was divided into three sections: the summary characteristics of the included trials, the baseline characteristics of the included participants, and the outcome data. The risk of bias was assessed using revised Cochrane collaboration tool for RCTs. The certainty of evidence was seen using the grade recommendations, and the statistical analysis was done using Stata MP version 17. To pool the results of dichotomous outcomes, the risk ratio was used, and for continuous outcomes, Cohen's d test was used. The fixed effect model was used unless there was significant heterogeneity, and the statistical heterogeneity was assessed using chi-square and I-square tests. In case of significant heterogeneity, a sensitivity analysis using leave one out model was performed, which was done by excluding each study at a time and observing the potential impact on the overall effect estimate to ensure that the effect estimate was not driven heavily by a certain study. Galbraith plot was done to detect any heterogeneity across studies, and the publication bias was evaluated using funnel plots and Eggers test. Coming to the results, 16 RCTs were included in the final analysis with a total of 939 patients. Interscalene approach was used in 3 trials, supraclavicular in 7 trials, infraclavicular approach in 3 trials, and axillary approach in 3 trials. And out of the 16 RCTs, 8 trials were conducted in India. 6 trials had an overall low risk of bias. 7 trials had some concerns of bias, either due to lack of information on randomization or a published protocol. 3 trials had an overall high risk of bias. Now, coming to the results on the outcomes. Now, as you can see, this is the forest plot for the time to sensory block and time to motor block. There was no difference between both the groups, that is levobupivacaine versus ropivacaine, in terms of time to achieve the sensory block and the time to achieve motor block. Now, pool studies were heterogeneous in terms of time to sensory block. As you can see, the I-square value is 92.68%, and also for the time to motor block, I-square of 85.22%. Leave out sensitivity analysis showed consistent results after excluding each study for time to sensory block as well as for the time to motor block. Now, these are the forest plots for patients converted to general anesthesia and the surgical duration, that is the intraoperative data. There was no difference between the groups of both the local anesthetics in terms of patient converted to GA as well as the surgical duration. Pool studies were also homogeneous in terms of patients converted to GA and the surgical duration with the I-square value of 0. Now, these are the forest plots for the determination of sensory block duration and the motor block duration. Now, as you can see from the forest plots, levobupivacaine was significantly associated with a longer sensory block duration with a mean difference of 1.66 and also a longer motor block duration with a mean difference of 1.18. The pool studies were homogeneous in the terms of sensory block duration with I-square of 6.65% and heterogeneous for motor block duration with an I-square of 92.88%. Now, both the groups were not different with respect to the VAS score seen at 24 hours for the need for rescue analgesia and in terms of complications. Pool studies were homogeneous for rescue analgesia and complications and heterogeneous for the VAS scores. So this is the forest plot for the VAS scores. This is the forest plot showing the need for rescue analgesia, and this one is for the complications seen in the postoperative period. Now, after synthesizing 16 RCTs with 939 patients, there was no difference between levobupivacaine and ropivacaine with respect to time to sensory block, time to motor block, the rate of patients converted to GA, the surgery duration, VAS scores at 24 hours, rescue analgesia, and incidence of complications. However, levobupivacaine was significantly associated with a longer duration of sensory and motor block. Now, both of these are amino-amide local anesthetics and are optically pure S enantiomers of bupivacaine. They have comparable pharmacological characteristics, the same ionized constant associated with the onset time. Now, levobupivacaine has a liposolubility of 30, while ropivacaine has a liposolubility of 2.8. Despite the higher liposolubility of levobupivacaine, there is no difference between the two drugs regarding the sensory and motor onset time. It has been seen that 225 mg of ropivacaine is equivalent to in potency to 150 mg of levobupivacaine. And another study noted that 0.25 concentration of levobupivacaine produces anesthesia of similar quality to 0.5% concentration of ropivacaine. Now, equimolar doses of both the drugs exhibited comparable onset and duration of nerve block on isolated nerves. Taking this into account, ropivacaine may have equal potency to levobupivacaine, but other factors also need to be considered due to the complexity of the clinical practice. Despite this indifference in time to sensory and motor block, levobupivacaine was associated with a longer sensory and motor block duration. And a potential explanation for higher potency of levobupivacaine is that ropivacaine was administered as a hydrochloride salt, and in contrast, levobupivacaine concentrations were administered as a base, leading to a 13% underestimation in the concentration. The block duration was reported to be influenced by the protein bound levels, causing highly protein bound drugs to have more prolonged effect, but there is insignificant difference in the protein binding percentages of these two drugs. Finally, the duration of analgesia is associated with variations in the clinical factors, such as the technique used for blocking and the extent of the surgical procedures. There was no difference in complications. Overall, both the local anesthetics were tolerated well by the patients. And this is the first systematic review and meta analysis to investigate the efficacy and safety of levobupivacaine versus ropivacaine in brachial plexus block. Thus, it is considered the best available evidence in this regard. The limitations of the present study are it included small, single center trials with relatively small sample size, undergoing different upper limb procedures, affecting the generalizability of the findings. The drug concentration, volume, administration approach were variable among the included studies, and the authors could not conduct a subgroup analysis based on the technique of administration of block. All included trials included patients of ASA status 1 or 2. Therefore, the data cannot be generalized to patients who are ASA grade 3. Some trials involved using adjuvants with the drugs of interest to prolong and intensify the analgesic effect, which can affect the findings of the SRMA. A subgroup analysis based on that due to variability in adjuvant drugs among the included trials could not be conducted. The authors noticed significant heterogeneity in some of the outcomes, which significantly impacted the certainty of evidence. However, they highlight several reasons for this heterogeneity that align with the complexity of the clinical practice. Now, what are the implications of for the clinical practice? Is that ropivacaine has the advantage of promoting faster motor function recovery after surgery when compared to levobupivacaine. Levobupivacaine offers advantage in terms of more extended sensory block, although it does have a drawback of a delayed motor block. If the priority is to minimize the postoperative pain, levobupivacaine should be taken into account. However, it may not be suitable option if prompt restoration of motor function is desired. Local anesthetics that act quickly can enhance the efficiency of operating room management, alleviate the surgeon's concerns about time, and improve the patient satisfaction by reducing the anxiety. In this regard, both the drugs have equivalent time to onset. Nevertheless, for situations requiring an immediate and complete sensory motor block, combination with other local anesthetics with quicker onset may be helpful, or adjuvants may be included. To conclude, levobupivacaine is significantly associated with longer duration of sensory and motor block in patients undergoing brachial plexus block for upper limb surgery compared to ropivacaine with a similar safety profile. Hence, if the priority is to decrease the postoperative pain, levobupivacaine should be considered. However, ropivacaine should be the best option if quick return of motor action is the priority. However, there is no difference regarding the time to sensory or motor block, patients converted to GA, surgery duration, VAS scores after 24 hours, and rescue analgesia rate. In addition, the current evidence remains uncertain and dependable on small single center RCTs warranting further investigation. Thank you.